This is the amount of text you need to read to learn every single archetype in Justice Hunter, and that's so much text. So instead, I, Tombox, will cram all of this into your head in 10 minutes and it's gonna stick. To be fair, most people know what some of the cards do, but they don't know every single card, and it's gonna matter a lot more when you compete at the YCS level, so I'm just helping you guys catch up so you guys don't fall behind. And to make things easier to digest, I'm breaking every single archetype down into their design pattern so you can quickly recognize the pattern and kind of attach it into your brain. Now, this is a speed run, so make sure you guys hit the like button, hit subscribe, and the timer will begin once you hit that notification bell. And let's go. Starting off with the Yummy archetype, it is a synchro-based archetype revolving around the 3 light snack beast monsters and their synchro forms, Cupsy, Cookie, and Lollipop. There's also a Link 1 monster called Snatchy, and that's going to be functionally your tuner because Link 1 monsters are considered as tuners for those synchro monsters. Now, looking into the main deck, they have a shared effect across the board. If you control a Link 1 or a Synchro level 2 monster, you can special summon each of these monsters from your hand once. Cupsy interacts with the deck, Cookie interacts with the field, and Lollipop interacts with the graveyard. And each of the Synchros, they share the same name, except that you add the word way at the end of the archetype, and that's what they are. It's just Snatchy merging with those monsters. Now, the main deck monsters have a summon trigger, and that summon trigger changes the effect if it's summoned from a Synchro monster. So, here are all their effects. Cupsy adds a Yummy card from your deck, but if it's summoned from Synchro, you get to draw a card instead. Cookie targets 1 card on the field and reduces attack by 1,000, or you can destroy the monster instead if it's summoned from Synchro. And then Lollipop, you get to target a card in your opponent's graveyard and shuffle that back into the deck, or if it's summoned from Synchro, you can banish it instead. So, all of it's not too bad. Now, as for the Synchros, they all share an effect here as well. They have 2 effects. All of the Link 1s are treated as level 1 tuners, so it's very easy to synchro these without tuners at all. And then when it comes to their quick effect, they can respond to the opponent's activation by returning itself to the extra deck for cost, and then they can special summon 2 Yummy monsters from the graveyard. It's non-target, and then the effects are not negated. So the deck interaction from the Cupsy Yummy way, that lets you add 2 Yummy monsters from your deck to your hand and discard a card. Then there is the Cookie interaction with the field. That is going to be target 2 monsters on the field and Book of Moon them. Very powerful effect to shut down any extra deck based strategy. And then there is Lollipop interaction with the graveyard. You get this special summon out 2 Yummy monsters from the graveyard, non-targeting, but this effect is negated. But that means Lollipop technically can get up to like 4 summons if you do all the effects of Lollipop. Then there's Snatchy. This is the Link 1 of the deck and essentially functions as the tuner, requiring only a light beast level 4 or lower to summon into this card. On summon, you get to place a Yummy field spell from your hand or deck to the field, and then it has a quick synchro effect, allowing you to dodge most effects during both players' main phases and the opponent's battle phase. Pay 100 life points or just whatever, synchro summon into anything using at least 1 Yummy monster. That's it. That's why this card is so powerful. And then there is Yummy Surprise. This is a utility spell. 3 different effects. You can activate this card multiple times, but you can only use each effect once per turn. You have Removal, Extension, and a Field Spell Cycling. Removal is target 2 Light Beasts and 2 of your opponent's cards and bounce them back to your hand. The Light Beast has to be yours. The Extension effect, special summon from your hand or graveyard a Yummy monster, but you cannot attack directly. And then for the Field Spell, return any Field Spell from the field or graveyard to the hand, and then place 1 Yummy Field Spell from your hand. That's it. The deck plays 2 field spells, Minion and a Croaky. One's offensive, one's defensive, and they both share 1 effect where they can bottom deck themselves in 2 Yummy cards. It's hard once per turn. It's a way for you to cycle your field spells so that Snatchy can reuse them later on. So starting with Minion, the more offensive one, it's an attack booster. It's the reason why you can get damage. 500 attack for each light beast on the field to your Yummy monster. So essentially, it's like a United We Stand on each Yummy, but instead of the 800, it's just 500. And then there's the Ignition-like effect. Help you extend if you control a Link 1, target a Yummy in your graveyard and special summon onto the field. That's all it really does. It's very powerful. And then there's a Croaky. You can kind of switch out the field spell when you special summon out Snatchy, especially during the opponent's turn. You want something that is a bit more controlling. Then you have a removal trigger. If you synchro summon into a light beast, say using Snatchy's effect, you can target a card your opponent controls and pop it. Or if your face-up monster leaves the field by the opponent, then you get to summon a Yummy from your deck. That's what this deck offers. Then there's a trap that no one really plays, but there is the Yummy Redemption. Continuous effect, your opponent loses 200 attack for each light beast you control. It's a continuous trap, so it stays on the field anyway. As a draw cycle effect, anytime you synchro summon, you could draw a card and discard a card. That's once per chain, so you can keep doing it. And then there is a creature swap effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Yummy, and 1 monster your opponent controls, switch control of those monsters. For staples, Obedience School. Summons out all of your level 2 or lower beasts, so Cupsy, Cookie, and Lollipop all in one go, but it does beast lock you. There's also going to be Sky Striker, Mega Hornet Drones, the Kagari, and the Engage. It's consistency as well as not consuming your normal summon to get a free level 2 Yummy Synchro monster. And Dominus Purge, because the deck is mainly light based, so even if you lock yourself out of all the attribute, it's okay. Just be careful of the Ash Blossom. As for synergy pairings, Primite is one of the go-to ones right now. Gives you quick access to Vanilla as a light beast monster, and also gives you additional access to Primate Drill Beam for additional layered negation. Now, the deck uses the Primate Fusion line into a Gravity Controller as the Link 1, so that you can use that to get into the Vanilla, and that's how you start off your play. Next, there's also the Fiendsmith line. Yes, you can add Fiendsmith in here. It provides you with follow-up in case you get hit by a Drone Lockbird, which does hurt sometimes, but the restriction that comes from Snatchy won't hurt you as much because you can't go into Link 3 or higher, but you can still get into Sequence, and Sequence can still fusion into a Desert, giving you a follow-up that way. Next, we have Draco Tail, the fusion-based archetype based on spellcasters and dragons. For the main deck monsters, they all share an effect where if they're sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you get to set from your deck one Draco Tail spell or trap card. Now, if it's a dragon Draco Tail, they have additional effects that apply onto the field non-target, okay? So after you set the card, then you get to do the other part of the effect. Now, let's go back to the spellcasters first. We have Femena. This is a fusion hand trap. So during the main phase, as a quick effect, you would discard this card and then perform a polymerization effect for a dragon or a spellcaster fusion monster. Now, note that I'm saying dragon spellcaster because it's either or, and it does not lock you into only summoning out fusion monsters. So this is a very, very strong card. Now, she herself will not act as a material because she's already discarded in this case. You're still fusing from the hand or field. As for Lucius, that's the Stratus of the deck. On normal or special summon, add a Draco Tail monster from deck to the hand. This is a starter. You want to summon this out once per turn. Now, going into the dragons, we have Muller, the level 3 one that looks like a scorpion. So when it's used as a fusion material, aside from the setting the card, after you set the card, you get to negate a monster on the field permanently, and that is non-targeting. So it's a really strong effect, and you want to set up as many chain blocks as you can, because if you're using multiple fusion material, you're definitely getting the option to set that up. Now, the role on the field, main phase quick effect, perform a fusion. So on the field, you get to use this effect during the main phase, perform a fusion of a Draco Tail monster. And so this is your other starter. Even if this card gets negated by an imperm during your opponent's turn, you can try again. Now, any of these monsters or card effects that specifically summons out Draco Tail monsters usually comes with a fusion lock right after, so just be careful. Next, we have Urgula. This is the spell trap destruction on the field that's non-targeting. The higher level ones, they have a graveyard-based effect. So the graveyard effect is you can bottom this card, add back one of your Draco Tail spellcasters from the graveyard back into your hand. So this is a board breaker as well as a way to cycle resources. And Pawn similarly has a trigger-based one. Now, this one destroys a monster as a fusion material, but in the graveyard, if a fusion monster is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can bottom deck this card and special summon out one of your non-fusion Draco Tail from the graveyard. So kind of help you re-extend, maybe summon back your Muller so you can perform another fusion, or summon back a Lucius so that you have additional search power. For the fusion monsters, we have Altherian and Grammel. They have a shared effect where if they're in the graveyard, if 2 or more monsters sent to the graveyard at the exact same time, whether it be a Link summon or board wipe, they summon themselves out of the graveyard, but banish them on leave. Now, what are their effects? So Altherian's pretty basic, which is a compulse on legs. Target monsters on the field or graveyard equal to the number of materials you use in the hand, and you just return them to the hand. You can bounce any monster back from the graveyard, so including hand traps. So if using your dead hand traps away, adding proper hand traps with engine starter, this is why this card is insane. It also kind of wipes the opponent's entire board, and you can chain block most of this stuff too. Then there's Grammel. This is your chain popper. Essentially doesn't really have anything on summon, but if you activate a Draco Tail effect, if there's no other response, you get to chain this effect on top and pop a card on the field. It does target. You have to target a card and then you pop it. Essentially, this is a pop on command. Spell cards, there's 2. There's Ketu and Rahu. We don't know the final names yet, but one's Rhoda with a fusion attached, one's a branded fusion for Draco Tail. So Ketu lets you add a Draco Tail monster from the deck to the hand, and if your opponent controls a monster, you get to also attempt to perform a fusion summon of a dragon or a spellcaster. Whereas Rahu, that's the branded fusion for the deck, where you get to use one monster as a material from the deck, and the rest has to be from your hand or field. This one does fusion lock you, and you have to have a monster in hand because you only summon into a Draco Tail fusion, and all of the Draco Tail fusion recipes require monsters in the hands. The trap cards, we have Draco Tail Horn and Draco Tail Flame. One is an attack mode compulse, the other triggers a spell card negation. Now, after you apply their main effect, then you can bottom deck a Draco Tail card and draw one card. That's a shared effect between both, and you're likely going to be playing these trap cards because they're really easy to just dig out. Horn is the one that bounces target an attack position monster on the field and bounce it back to your hand. Then there is also Dracotail Flame. You just target a face-up spell card on the field and you get to negate that. For staples to the deck, you might see King of the Swamp, which gives you easy access to Red Eyes Dark Dragoon because you're syncing into a spellcaster or a dragon. It also gives you easy access to Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, and it can also search Polymerization if you want to start with that, but eventually people will phase them out based on the hand drop people play. Then we're going to see Mysterian the Dragon Crown, as well as Secretarian Dragon. Mysterian is more likely going to be a mass removal for a specific monster type, whereas Secretarian Dragon provides you with an extension and additional summon for Lucius in case you started with the external engine of Primite. This Secretarian Dragon lets you summon out either a dragon or a spellcaster out of your graveyard, but you need to load the graveyard with both first, and acts as a dragon and spellcaster floodgate. So these are essentially just must plays. Now, what about the synergy pairings? There's Primite, Branded, and Canine. Primite gives you access to Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician. And Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, they can link into those link ones that lead to dragons and give you access to Heraldic Seal of Heavenly Spheres and provide you with extra negation such as Drill Beam. Branded, the fusion types are already aligned. Branded already facilitates dragon-based fusions, as well as Canine. Because Femena is a level 5 monster, it provides you with that. And you can also use Draco Tail Boss to kind of bounce back your level 5s, putting them back into your hand. Both of these decks have their own in-engine hand traps, giving you excessive amounts of hand traps. And we're at K9. If you made it this far, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell. If you guys want proxies for the K9s, it's available on my Patreon and as well as the Discord. Alright, let's get into the level 5 Synergy XYZ deck. For the main deck, level 5 K9 monsters, I'll simplify it down for you guys. So, the shared effect among the police officer looking ones, the J. Cole, the Lantern, the Izuna. All of these monsters can normal summon themselves out without tribute as long as your opponent controls 2 or more cards in their hand. That effect does not apply to double a Lupus, and the rest of it is just attribute based. You have your Dark and your Earth. So your Dark, you have J. Cool and you have Lantern, so 66A and 66B. Now they have the effect to tether another special summon specified level 5, but none of these monsters can ever be used for a Light Exceeds monster material. Then there is going to be the Earth, where if your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand or in the graveyard, the main phase quick effect summon has been enabled. Let's go into the Darks first. So J. Cool and the Lantern, what does J. Cool do? Well, the summon tether requires another level 5 monster in the hand, which is why it synergizes quite nicely with other level 5 decks because it doesn't have any restriction. And on the field, there's an ignition effect. You can add a K9 monster from your deck as long as it's not an Aqua. So J. Cool cannot add J. Cool. Then there's Lantern. Lantern summon effect is the one that tethers from the graveyard. So kind of like a Blizzard from Blackwing, but this has to be a level 5 non-pyro K9 in the graveyard. It has to be level 5 and has this ignition effect as well. You could add any K9 spell or trap from the deck. As for the most infamous monster, we have number 17, Izuna. Has a main phase quick effect summon from hand once you met the triggering condition. And then there's a summon trigger. You get to send a K9 card from the deck to the graveyard. Typically, you're going to dump Lupus because Lupus also has a main phase quick effect to summon from hand or graveyard. Has a main phase quick effect on the field to quick exceeds. And as a material, it offers an additional effect to that monster where that monster cannot be targeted. In the extra, there's 3 K9 Exceeds monster, the Ripper, the Hound, and the Werewolf. The Ripper is number 17, and this is a combo piece as well as a hand trap insulator. You get to detach one, and you get to add 1 K9 card from your deck to your hand. And then if your opponent activated a monster effect from the hand or graveyard, you get to set a K9 quick play spell, essentially one of the Liberation quick play spells. And it also has a quick effect to detach, negate a monster effect that's happening from the hand or graveyard. So this is your hand trap insulator. That's why everyone wants this card. It's so powerful, and it just sets everything up as well as giving you the follow-up. Then there's the Beast Warriors. There's the K9 00 Hound. On the turn that this card is summoned, it cannot be destroyed by battle, cannot be destroyed by card effect, making this card an excellent Zeus fodder. Well, on the standby phase, you get to detach and target a card on the field and banish it. A lot of the hybrid builds do not play this card, but a lot of the hybrid builds do play its transformed version, K9X Werewolf, and this Werewolf is insanely strong. So it's usually going to be summoned out by a Liberation spell because you don't really have like things to get into like a rank 9, so it's very difficult. So it's a boss monster. It responds to your opponent's activation depending on the turn. Your turn, you have a non-target field and graveyard banish, and during your opponent's turn, and you respond with this card, you detach. You get to look at their hand, choose a card to temporarily banish it. Yeah, it's very, very strong. Moving into the spell line, this is a case of the K9. This is the continuous spell, which is the Rhoda. You get to add a K9 monster from deck to hand. Provides you with additional attack boost, 900 boost if your opponent activates a card from the graveyard or the hand. And it also has a destruction effect where it lets you set up a K9 quick play spell from the deck. You get to set it as long as this card is destroyed. So sometimes you do choose to destroy your own card, such as this one. The Liberation spells and traps are essentially the rank up magic of the deck. Now for the spell lineup, you have the LC Liberation and the X-Force Liberation. Now they share an effect where if a K9 monster battle at the end of the battle phase, you get to reset them onto the field out of the graveyard. Fantastic. There's slight differences between each of these, such as the LC Liberation has a timing of any time you can target a rank 5 monster or a K9 monster, and then you get to overlay a different named K9 monster on top. Pretty simple, and you get more generic targets. Most people are choosing to play X-Force Liberation because the timing, well, main phase only targets a K9 monster, but on the resolution of this card, you also get a non-target destroy one of your opponent's cards, and it just gives you another disruption against your opponent while they're trying to build up. And usually when you go for an X-Force Liberation, you're going for the werewolf. Now, there's also the trap card, free summon from the hand or graveyard, and then you overlay on top using that monster, but you destroy it during the next end phase. Now, it does have a cycle back effect similar to the spell cards, but you have to banish this card during the end phase, target a K9 quick play, and you get to reset that K9 quick play. And for staples and synergy, Nash Knight giving you the rank 5 toolbox for 101 and 107, and their chaos versions as well. Then there's Valen, the Super Sky Blaster, Book of Moon on legs, and then the C104 Umbral Horrors of the Masquerade provides you with back removal. Now, synergy pairings, of course, it's going to be paired with Vanquishal. That's given. The attribute lines up. We have Earth and Dark added into the deck, as well as get a level 5 mix with the Jiao Long, a match made in heaven for this. And then there's also Draco Tail, because level 5, we already talked about this earlier. And then Christian is another popular choice when it comes to synergistic pairings. If you guys want the K9 proxy sheets, that's available on my Patreon. Just go over there and check it out. Now, I hope this video helps you guys get caught up with all of the knowledge that you were missing from before in Justice Hunters. You might have heard bits and pieces, but this is going to be filling up all the gaps and all the details that you need for the upcoming season. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for, staying here for the quick crash course lesson. If you guys enjoyed it, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, we got games coming, we got demos. We want to get you guys prepared for the upcoming season of YCS. Well, that's why we're here. Hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, and I'll see you all in the next one.